Welcome to Magic Master Sets. Hello, everyone. So, I want to start off by apologizing that I have not been uploading as much past couple months or past month ish or so since my last upload. Just have been very busy. As I've mentioned in my other videos, real estate agent, spring market gets very busy with all the things that I have to do with my company, my job, everything like that. It's just been a little chaotic. And on top of that, my company's also started giving me a couple more things responsibility wise. So it's been eating up a lot of my time. Plus, it was tax season, had to do the taxes. Uh, Taxes kind of hit hard and got to basically make payments for that. So I'm a little on the broke side at the moment, just trying to catch up for that. So I have been unable really to spend any extra money on buying pretty much anything right now, just the essentials and just getting everything taken care of. So I want to at least catch up from the last time I posted with all the cards that I got last time. I want to add into the collection here. So I'm going to try to just basically go through this stack. It's not that big, but there's a couple different sets, but there's not many cards per each set. So let's get started. And we are going to start here with the set here, Murder of Calvo Manor. So I have it pulled up here already have it set into numerical order here. So I'm basically just going to start adding in here. So we went through these already, so you should have seen them. Again, I'm looking on this side. Apologize, just it's easier to see there than in front of me. But again, like I said, it's just I feel bad that I haven't been able to post as much. I'm slightly annoyed that I haven't been able to buy anything new. I know my goal was to try to have a complete set of some kind basically by the end of last month. That not happening even remotely close. So unfortunately, life just life sometimes, uh, and things just happen. So basically, it is what it is. But I'm gonna keep, like I said, gonna keep going. I do this as a hobby. I've been enjoying it. Um, just need to be able to. Why is that? Oh, forgot to get rid of the zero. Uh, Gonna keep doing it. I have been working on doing some research because I've never streamed before. And that's something that, like, I think I mentioned before that I thought about streaming um, as well. So I created Discord, I created a Twitch account. So I basically just need to figure out how they work, how they operate, what I need to do to basically get everything set up in that regard so I can stream. I have been thinking maybe I will just start again like, on YouTube, which is where I'm posting all this, and just doing live and streaming on that. But again, never done it. So definitely need to figure out how to do that as well. So I'm probably going to start YouTube for the streaming aspect. And then from there, work on figuring out the Twitch part in that regard. And then kind of, like I said, go from there. I do know you can stream from both. Not really sure how. Again, more education. So those are the cards to be added for that set. So let's switch back over to the other screen here. So we now have a total of 21 in this set. So we got that. So now let's take a look here at what our next set is. I already have them sorted numerically and by the set and then separated, so I just need to pull out the individual sets here. So this one, let's see, LCI, still learning the sets. Bear with me. Where is it? Where is it? Is this a new set? I wonder. I don't think so. I don't think this is a new set. I'm pretty sure I had stuff from this. Oh, that is a slightly different symbol. This might actually be a brand new set. Hold on. Let's double check one more time. This is. So I'm going to pause on that one. I only want to basically add in right now the stuff that I have. Maybe I will have to make another video for the other stuff. So let's see what this one is. I got one card in this set. So let's see. OTJ. Yep, I got one right here. So let's outlaws. Let's copy this. Let's go back to the sets. Website's still a little slow. Let's get into that and just add the one card. There we go. Come on. It was there and it went away. There we go. So we only got to add the one here. This one. This is not a foil. No, it's not a foil. So we added that. So now we have 72 for Outlaw. 73. I'll say it's already said 72. So now we got 73 for Outlaw. Put that one in. I don't know. That one came in a sleeve because it was in a sleeve, but I don't understand why. Um, like a penny sleeve. Let's see here. Again, I got another one. I got a couple ones. So we're just going to add these kind of random one-offs. Again, unless it's not in the set that we already have, then we're basically just going to skip past it. So this is MOC. I'm pretty sure I have MOC. It sounds vaguely familiar. Maybe not. I want to keep these in the date order, but I kind of wish I could put these in an alphabetical order. That would just make it so much easier to find stuff really, really quickly. But I do not have MOC either, so that's also another. I got one card in that set. Let's see, this one I'm 99% sure I have this or not. This one's from FDN. Nope, don't got that one either. So I got a couple new ones. Problem is they all seem to be like random one-offs. This one is the Avatar set, which I know I'm pretty sure I don't have anything now. I don't have anything from the Avatar set. That's also a new one and another one-off. All right, let's see what else we got here. Bra, BRO. Feel like I have this one, but again, I might not. Problem is, from looking in all the sets and stuff in the boxes and everything else, I'm so used to seeing the symbols, but now I'm starting to get vaguely confused at which ones I do have, which ones I don't have, because I'm used to seeing the symbols, but maybe not having it. Nope. So this is another one. So this one I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in this one. Okay. I should have actually probably went through these ahead of time and looked to see what I do have and what I don't have. Now, also, if anybody is wondering why there is a stack of clothes behind me on an ironing board, it's a great question. So, past 2-ish years, I have gone through like a weight loss journey where I was at a certain weight. I lost about 50 pounds and worked at that, doing that. So I basically got rid of all my clothes that didn't fit me anymore because everything was way too big. Bought a whole bunch of new clothes because I got skinnier, basically, and losing those 50 pounds. And then life again lifed, and I gained all the weight back and then had no clothes that fit me. So I've been slowly buying new clothes that fit me now, and everything you see behind me there is all my skinny clothes from when I lost the 50 pounds. So none of them fit. And I've been going through my closet, also doing some spring cleaning stuff, and basically just getting rid of stuff that no longer fits or that I no longer need. So I've just been trying to get that organized as well. So that's why you just randomly see behind me. I had it in my spare bedroom. It's on the other side of the wall over here. But my sister is down for the weekend. She's going out with my wife right now. They're going out for some girls like day thing or whatever that my sister wanted to take her out. So they just left maybe a few minutes ago. So that's why I figured I'd hop on here and do this. But that's also why you see the clothes behind me, because I wanted to get them out of the way for my sister, so she could, because she's staying the whole weekend. Because she doesn't live close. She lives about 2-ish hours away from me. So when she comes down, it's usually for a couple of days. Just like if we go up there, like we usually go up either like on a Friday night after my wife's done work, and then we usually come home like Sunday afternoonish. So that's basically what she's doing. Uh, I hate when this happens. Hold on, let's go back. Come on. Okay, and we're back. We had some technical difficulties there. The website um, was not loading my profile for me to go in and like add anything. So apologize for that. It's a website. It happens. They go down. Um, I don't remember what I was talking about. I will edit out all that downtime. Uh, but yeah, so like I said, it's um, I'm really hoping that I'll be able to pick this back up relatively soon of getting some more stuff just because, like I said, I'm doing this as a hobby. I'm doing it for fun, but at the same time, um, is this a foil? I can't tell. Let's take a look. Oh, that is a foil. I gotta fix that. Is this also a foil? Sometimes it's hard to tell in these penny sleeves if these are foils or not, just because like I can't see it is. Um, I can't tell because it's like, is the plastic penny sleeve that's in shiny, or is it the card itself that's shiny? So let's go back to the other one because the other one is. Come on, you just had it. Do I have to do the 038? Sometimes you gotta put the 0 in there. I don't know why. No. There we go. So delete. Forget how to do this again. So let's add the foil first. Come on. Something is going on with the website. There we go. Let's click on this. Let's get rid of the non-foil. I don't understand how the non-foils more. Okay. All right. So we fixed that. Let's. Again, haven't been on here in a while. Bear with me. Not what I meant to do, but okay. Okay. So 17 in there now. Fix that. Alrighty. Let's see what's next. I also tried a lot of these cards are foil, so a lot of them are curved. If you're like if you're a collector, you obviously know that they get curved. I tried to flatten them back out again by putting them in the stack and then putting some weight on them, on the whole pile, basically. So it helped a little bit, but not as much as I was hoping it would. So some of these are still got a bit of a curve to them. So KTK is the next one. Again, logo looks or the symbol looks familiar, but I don't know if I have it or not. Nope. So that's another one. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4 in this set, all foil. It looks like. Do those? Make a separate pile for them. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. This one I got a couple in. I think these are all the same though. Hold on. I think these are part of that same set. Let's take a look. I don't know why they're separated. Let's see. They are. I don't know. I was when I was doing these, I was putting them like upside down and all. Like in the pile, like as I got to different sets, I would like put one right set up, one right upside down. So yes, these are all new, and these are all part of the same set, but I gotta put them in numerical order. So let's see what we got next here. There we go. This is the mom set. Again, I don't think this one. I'm pretty sure I don't actually have. Um, no, I do not have the mom set either. Okay, we got a bunch in that one. Let's see what would be next. So this is the last ones here, and this one I know I have. It is it's mid. I know I have mid. I just gotta find mid. I know you're probably looking at it like it's right there. There it is, mid. Okay. So Instrad, copy. Go back to our sets and a decent amount in this one. So basically, here's what my plan is. I'm gonna finish putting this in. I'm gonna basically pause the recording. I'm gonna get all these other ones fixed, set up, put them into my main list, and then I'll kind of pick up the recording and we'll start adding these in as well. So that's kind of my thought for this video. I want to get everything put in. Uh, Midnight Hunt. Here we go. So let's start adding these in. I apparently already have this one. All right, so that's going to go into the bulk. Let's see what's next. I keep hearing these weird ass noises, and I don't know what it is. Probably my neighbors would be my guess, but I'm not sure. That one as well. Uh, like where my this room is there's a window right here, and I'm in a what's called a center row. So I have physical houses attached to me on both sides, and like the block behind me is also the same way, and we share like a driveway. So every once in a while, I hear the strangest noises, and I don't know if it's coming from the neighbors on the other side of this wall. I don't know if it's coming from the neighbors across the driveway. Like, and I just heard it again. I don't know what this noise is. You probably can't hear it. It's very low, but I hear some of the strangest things, and I'll look out and I don't see anything. I don't see any kids. I don't see nothing, but I hear weird noises. So I like sometimes wonder what my neighbors are doing sometimes because it just I'm like I don't know where these noises come from or what they even are. I don't know. I don't get it. My goal in a couple of years is to try to move again, um, and get back into a detached home because I grew up in what's called a twin. If any of you know what that is, where it's one attached to a house on one side. And then my very first house was what I'm like kind of in now, which is what's called a center row, which just means again you're attached to a house on one on each side. And then from there, I bought a detached, had that, and ran some um, financial issues because this property was a rental property, and I had two back to back tenants that basically didn't pay me the rent, and I had to go through the whole eviction process to get them out. And because of that, lost a lot of money in a very short period of time, just because like they weren't paying the rent. So and I had to pay the mortgage along with my own place, like pay my own bills and stuff like that. So couldn't afford it. Kicked the one out. Did some work to the house to improve it so I could charge more in rent than what I was charging the first tenant. Put another tenant in here, and then that tenant didn't pay me. So then I had to go through the process of evicting that tenant. So it just became a whole thing. And basically, me and the wife just had to decide like, do we keep our single house, and be kind of in a hole, or sell that, move into the rental property, which is this one, and just be in a slightly better financial decision or slightly better financial position. So we talked about it, had multiple discussions about it, and decided like moving here was the better financial option. So we did the adult thing and did that and sold the detached. Um, and this house isn't bad. I'm not saying not saying it is bad, but it's not what I want. I wanted to have the single house where had the yard and not connected to anybody and whatever. And I had that for a couple of years, and now I don't have it, and I enjoyed it, and I want to have it again. So working on trying to build some things up for myself and get back into a stronger financial position than what I was or what we are in. Not saying that we're in a bad one, just saying that we could be in a better one. We were in a better one at a point, and just working on getting back to that so that can and I haven't decided yet. Like everybody keeps asking me, like my friends and co realtor agents and stuff have asked me like when I get to that point, Am I going to keep this house and continue to use it as a rental and all, or am I going to sell it and move? And I haven't really made that decision yet because it's hard to make a decision like that if you don't have all the information. I don't know what position I'm going to be in when by the time I get to that point. I don't know if I'll be able to keep it or I might have to sell it to move. I don't know. So that's something I'll figure out at that time. So, alrighty. So we had a couple duplicates in there, not a big deal. So we added everything in for this set. So let's take a look and see where we're at now for cards. So we're at 183. 183. There we go. All right. So, like I said, I'm going to pause. I'm going to get all of the other ones that are not in the sets here in order. And then once I do, I'm going to come back on. So there's going to be a pause and back in, and we'll continue to add these sets. Hello, and we are back. So I got all of that organized. I did actually have one card in here that I could not find. Like I thought we didn't have it. We do have it. So this is the only one card that we're adding to this one set here that it was already on the list. So let's get it loaded into here. Because I thought we had it, but good, couldn't find it. So that is it for what we already had. So what I've already done, just to show you why that's loading, is I have added all the lines for all the sets. Four of these sets, three of these sets we only have a single one of, but the rest we have a couple that we need to add in here. So I'm going to basically start with the earliest set, which is going to be, I believe, this one, Kahans of Tikar. Yep, that's going to be the first set. So we need to actually add it in here first. So let's copy this over. Every time I do that, it like doesn't pull it up. I gotta go back out, add the letter to get it to like refresh. There we go. So click on this. We're going to track this set. Alrighty, and let's start adding these in. I did get like an early set. I believe this is the early set. This is a 2014 set. So I got stuff on me. Uh, so like I said, if I'm buying random stuff and I get new sets, no big deal. But I don't think, like I've said, I'm not planning on just going and buying from new sets in general or from old sets in general or sets I don't have. I want to keep trying to when I buy direct, I want to make sure that I'm buying um, stuff that I already have. So when I go to the store or whatever, I'm trying to not add new sets because I want to try to complete the sets that I have. But I keep seeming to get the new sets or like new sets that I don't have, which is fine. I'm not upset about that. But I feel like I keep doing that. I'm like never, never, never going to complete one of these sets, which is still the goal. But then I also might get a set that's relatively easy to complete because it's been out for so long and there's so much bulk for it. Or it might just be a set that has so few cards that it'll make it a little bit easier to to get all of them, make it easier to find. That's also a possibility. Now, this one, it also seems like I have a good amount of foils for this set, which is kind of cool. I think it's interesting when they're more foiled, but um, I've been noticing the foils sometimes are actually cheaper than the regular, which I don't understand that from a business perspective. I'm guess like if you're buying something to add to a card to make it do something different than the standard printing, how that one then winds up being cheaper. But it's again, I guess it's from the public market that decides like what they're willing to pay for it. So just because it's a foil, I guess doesn't mean that it means it's more valuable because it's always about what the customer wants. And that's also how my job is. That's how real estate is. People always say, like, why are prices so high and all? I'm like, well, it's a supply and demand issue. We have a high demand from buyers and we have a low supply of inventory. So, unfortunately, your prices are going to reflect that because that's just how public markets work. And then everybody also like is concerned about inflation stuff. Well, I mean, inflation is a thing and it does exist. Um, but like I was looking back at some notes because I do my follow up with my people in my database, and one of the people that I had talked to, this was a couple of years ago. Like I was looking like because I always go back to try to remember who the person is. And I was looking at some of the notes, and one of the things that I notated that he said was, "I don't want to overpay for a house." And here's the thing: if you're working with me as an agent, I don't want you to overpay for a house either. I want you to pay the value of the house so that you're getting your money's worth from the house. And if you're buying with a mortgage, guess what? You're not going to overpay for a house because when you buy with a mortgage, there's a thing called an appraisal that happens. And the point of the appraisal is that a third party entity comes in to evaluate, an appraiser comes in to evaluate the property to see what the valuation of the property is. And so let's just say for round numbers sake, let's say me and my buyer put an offer in at $300,000, but we're getting a mortgage and there's an appraisal done. And the appraiser comes back and says, "Hey, this house is only worth $275,000." Well, guess what? My buyer does not have to necessarily buy that house, depending on the offer and the terms and however we put it in. My buyer does not have to buy that house for 300,000. We can go back and say, "Hey, the house is not worth that. The mortgage company is not going to lend that amount on this house. So if we buy it, we need to buy it at the evaluated price of 275." So then it goes back into a level of negotiations, and things eventually either they get worked out and we move forward with it, or the seller becomes stubborn and basically says, "Well, no, I want what you offered," which the buyer would not be able to do, and walk away and goes back on the open market for somebody else to buy it. So when people say like, "I don't want to overpay for something," there are ways to ensure that that does not happen. Um, now, if you think that what the actual price is overinflated, that's opinion, but that's not factual, because again, the market dictates the price. I don't dictate the price. The seller doesn't dictate the price. The appraiser does not really actually dictate the price. The market, what people are willing to pay for a property, is what dictates the price, and that's how property values get affected. So if you think that the property is uh, overly priced, then be mad at other people that have bought and paid prices that then reflect that estimated value, because that's where it comes from. Um, so I love my job and I love working with people, but everybody, including myself, like in other industries and other things, we all think we know how something works. And if unless we're doing that thing all the time, unless maybe we work in that industry or have somebody that works in that industry that we can talk to about things and all, we actually don't know things about like things. We think we do, we hear stuff, we listen to people on social medias and online and whatever that talk about different things, and we think, "Oh, well, they're an expert." Well, they might be. There's a chance they are, but here's the thing: as I said, I'm a licensed agent in Pennsylvania and New Jersey, so I have knowledge and expertise within those two states. But if somebody came to me with a question in California or Texas or North Dakota, I can't really advise in that regard, because I'm not licensed in that state. I can't give you real estate advice in that state because I'm not licensed there. I don't know what the laws are. I don't know what the processes are. I don't know what your paperwork says. Like all that stuff changes as you go. So I can't advise on those things. So when you see people online in general, and like I'm not saying this about myself, but it would apply for me too. I can give you general information, but you would need to talk with an expert within your state to understand what things would do, because even Pennsylvania and Jersey are different in how excuse me, how things work. So not everything that we do in PA would work in New Jersey, and vice versa. So why is this set not coming up? Okay, so we're back. Had a It would not filter, just had to search it kind of the old fashioned way. Um, but I was like I was saying, you shouldn't take what you hear online as like everything completely true, because again, somebody who's talking about a thing is an expert within their realm, their area, and like what they know in that aspect. So you cannot take that everywhere unless they are talking generals, like in a general kind of sense. Like for example, if I said to you, "Hey, if you're looking to buy a house and you don't have and you can't buy it cash. You don't have $200,000 laying around to go buy a house for that price. You need to get a mortgage." Well, that's general information. That's true. That is going to be a truth no matter what state you're in, pretty much at all. That's just how it's going to be. But if I said, "Hey, let's talk about this mortgage product or a grant or something like that," it may apply, it may not apply, because mortgages can be different depending on where they're at. There are different types of grants that some are local, some are state, some are federal. So not all of those things would necessarily apply to you. Um, so those are more area specific and things that you would want to talk with an expert in your area to get that kind of information. So I like people who try to educate because I am an educator myself as well. It's one of the things I'm working on doing is I'm getting more educated to be a better educator to other people, whether it be the public or whether it be like agents that I'm mentoring and stuff like that. However, you need to make sure the information you have is correct, because if you don't have the right information, you could actually make things a lot worse for yourself. So just always keep that in mind. Alrighty, so we have this set complete in this entry. So we have 7 for the Brothers War. We have 7 there. Bring this down for the calculations. So next is March of the Machine. Let's get back to here. I don't know if I've said this in my other videos, but one of the things that I'm personally working on is getting my what's called a broker's license. Basically, it's the next level of licensing for myself. So that's what I'm working on right now. Uh, which one is this? This one is the 10421. Okay, right here. Um, so that is my current goal. It's going to take roughly about a year. Because I have to take certain classes. That's what I mean by I'm educating myself. I'm taking those classes to get the education I need to be able to go take and sit for the test to get that license. So that is the current working goal, which is also why like things are also a little tight because these classes are not cheap. Um, and I got to pay for them. And it's basically there's like one class a month. And like I said, classes are kind of expensive, but it's the education. I took one class so far, the education, and that was pretty decent. I liked it. I have another one coming up in a couple days. That's going to start the next one, which I'm really looking forward to this one because I already have the list of all the classes that I have to take. Some are required, some are elective, but I have to take so many of each to get like credits, basically. Almost like the way college works. Like you take so many classes, get so many credits to move forward. Um, and what the class that's coming up this upcoming week is one of the mandatory ones, but it's something I'm kind of interested in. It's actually a real estate law class because it's one of the things we have to take, and it's mandatory. So I'm looking forward to it because throughout the years I've learned and other things in different ways, and a lot of it because we work contractually. We're not attorneys, but because we work contractually, understanding the law and how it applies within your state is kind of important in how your paperwork works and stuff. So, um, what I like about Pennsylvania, because like I've obviously looked at New Jersey's paperwork as well, and I've seen the paperwork from other states, from other people, like agents in other states, and I've talked to agents in other states, and there are obviously similarities. It's the same industry, but how they do things is obviously different. And what's the law aspect to me is very important because since it is state very it like everything is state specific and how your paperwork's done and what you can and can't do that way, I find that part interesting, and that's what I like learning because I want to know what I can and can't do and stuff. But I think the way Pennsylvania, based on what I've seen from, I'm going to add this right now just because literally we only have one card, and then I'm going to add it over here. But just the way I've seen Pennsylvania do its paperwork, I think we have a really good setup already for it because, like with Jersey, not that I'm bad mouthing New Jersey at all, but I've said this. I'm like, I think the paperwork that they have, it obviously to me could be better. I think it could be better put together. And New Jersey is what's called, like at least what I call it, it's called an optional attorney state. So there are some states in the US that you are required to have an attorney involved in the real estate transaction. Then there are some states that are like New Jersey where you the client, the buyer or seller can have an attorney if they so choose. They're not required to or mandated to in any way, but they can if they so choose and want to pay for it. Then there are states like Pennsylvania that we are not an attorney state at all. The attorneys are not involved in our real estate transactions in standard residential transactions. Attorneys are involved in commercial, but that's because commercial has a whole under level of things that need to be done on a legal sense. So there are attorneys involved in commercial deals, but not residential. And people find that strange. I actually have a friend of mine who we talked a couple of years ago because he was thinking about buying. He still hasn't, but he was thinking about it. And he said something about like, oh, well, I would need to get an attorney. I'm like, why? He's like, "Well, my dad always said, like, if you're making big purchases, which obviously buying a home is a big purchase, he's like, you should have an attorney." And I said, "Well, I understand the general premise of that, but I'm like, it's not actually needed in Pennsylvania." And he didn't understand why. And I said, "Well, because our paperwork was drafted by attorneys for the state in the first place." So I'm like, they did this in such a way that you don't need to have an attorney. We're going to pause. I'm going to try to fix this and find it again. Okay, got that fixed. Anyway, but I said I'm like there are already attorneys that drafted the paperwork, put everything in there, already outlined if A happens, B happens, if B happens, C happens. Like they already figured all that out and already put it into place. So it makes, I'm not going to say it makes our job excessively simple as agents, but what I'm saying is that they basically have already figured out what is going to happen and what the outcomes are going to be, just like in a standard contract. Like attorneys help you with a standard contract, and they put all they do their best to put all the contingencies in, and say if this happens and that happens and this is who's responsible and everything else. They've already done that. So uh, for our paperwork, what we're doing is we're filling in the blanks on the paperwork to basically build the offer or the agreement or whatever it is using what the attorneys have already given us. So it makes our job easier. It doesn't, I'm not saying that it makes it an easy job because there's a lot more than just the paperwork. There's the knowledge you need to have, the information you need to provide, all the fiduciary duties you have to the clients. Like some people think that being an agent is an easy job, and I can promise you it's a fulfilling job, it's an awesome job, and I absolutely love it, but I would not say it's easy in the least because there's constant changes, there's constant updates, there's people that put their opinions into stuff that the opinion is like your opinion doesn't matter. What the contract says, what the law says, like there's so many, and this seems to be an issue again because I've talked to agents all across the country. That just seems to be how it is, and I think that's like with every job. Everybody like at your job, I bet you have like your policies and procedures manual and stuff, and you either agree with some of it, you disagree with some of it, you like some of it, you don't like some of it. It's every job. That's a normal standard thing with any job. But our job is not. Our job is a legal job without us being attorneys. So we have our contracts to do that, and that's basically what I told my friend. I'm like, we don't need an attorney. I've never worked with an attorney in Pennsylvania. I've never needed to because everything is already built in, everything is ready to go, and the protections that you need are already there. In New Jersey, that's not how it is. Some of this stuff is there, some of it's not. Um, and that's why a lot of times people have attorneys as an additional level of protection for kind of those, like, I guess, those gray areas. I've done transactions in New Jersey with attorneys, and I've done transactions without attorneys. They both were fine. We got to closing. So I think if New Jersey followed Pennsylvania's footsteps a tad bit and just revised the paperwork a tad bit and put it into a different way where the contingencies and stuff are already kind of built in, we wouldn't need the attorneys. But I feel like the attorneys in the state would probably get really angry about that because that's how they make a living. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying I don't see the need for it if you made some changes. That is a personal opinion, not a professional opinion. Uh, because I know other agents that love the fact that the attorneys are involved and all. And I've dealt with a couple of attorneys. I've talked to a couple of them. They're really nice people, most of them. I mean, obviously, like, there's pros and goods and bads and everything. Um, there's good agents, bad agents. There's good attorneys, bad attorneys. There's good mortgage lenders, bad mortgage lenders. It's again, it's part of any job. Everybody has good ones and bad ones. Um, and I've heard phenomenal reviews from agents about attorneys, and I've heard like that they would never hire certain attorneys again to help them in the transactions because of how they acted or whatever the case was. So I just think they're to me, my view is that they're buying a house is already expensive. And you basically are kind of adding in an additional cost to the client to hire the attorney when if you just made some changes to the paperwork and tightened it up a little bit, you wouldn't need that additional cost of a couple $100 or whatever the attorney's charging, and you could run it the same way. So that's it. Again, it's just a perspective thing. Um, and it's so funny because agents that I know personally in my company that have only ever done New Jersey transactions or like they're only licensed in New Jersey, we've talked about how things get handled here, and they think the way we do stuff in Pennsylvania is really weird. And I said to them, because I only knew Pennsylvania for a while, that I'm like, I think how you guys do stuff in Jersey is weird. So it's also that just perspective of it's like what you initially learn versus what you learn new going forward. It's just so funny to see how different people think about different things, uh, and what we each think is a good thing or bad thing. It's probably the same for any of you guys. Like if you were to work at one convenience store, like let's just say something like a Dunkin' Donuts or something, and how they do stuff, and then you go and work at a 7-Eleven and how they do stuff, it's just very, very different. And you're just like, well, why are there obviously there's things that are similar, but then you're like, oh my god, there's all these things over here that are so different. Why do you do things like this when it doesn't make sense? Because you're like, well, I'm so used to doing it this way at this job. Now you're like, I got to do things this way at this job, and that's weird, and I'm not used to it. So, and I've worked a lot of jobs. I've had a lot of jobs, and I understand it because I've been in that position where I'm like, I I've gone it to one job where we did something, gone to another job where we did the same thing, and I'm just like, "Why do you do it this way?" Like, or sometimes I like it. Like there were times I can think that I like changed like jobs, and I'm like, "Oh my god, the way you do it is so much better." Like, I wonder why they haven't at the other place, why they haven't tried to do it this way. So it's just again, it's always a perspective thing to see the different ways that different companies do the same thing, just their own way. This is not foil. So we are done. That is the last one. As soon as it gets done loading. Now, why does this say there's? I'll have to check this because I got these numbers from a different website. This is saying there are 416 cards. So I'm going to double check some of these, um, because like I said, I was looking on another website to get the information to get these set up, and they were saying there was less. So maybe they added some. Maybe the other one site's not as up to date. Not sure, but I'll double check. So this is now the up to date current list of where we're at. So let's kind of leave it up here on the screen, let you guys take a look at it. This is where we're at. I don't think much has really changed in the regards of Um, oops, I thought I was at the top. I am not. Um, so not again, not much has changed. We're pretty much in the same kind of boat we were. We added a couple new sets. We added some cards to sets, but we didn't really add all that many. So I don't think anything has really changed in regards to the set that's probably at the highest percentile of being complete versus what I need to complete. So it's just pretty much, I think it's pretty much stayed the same, other than just adding in those new sets that we have. But again, I still have a goal of trying to finish something. I think once I have a little bit more money and am actually able to get back into doing this again, that I think if I can't find this stuff at the store again, supposedly there is also a new card store that's opening up, I believe, sometime this month near me at a mall that's near me. I got to double check when they said they were opening in May, but they never had a date. I got to check back on their social media to see if they actually have an opening date at this point. So I think when they open, and again, I have the ability to go out and buy, I'm going to go over and look and see if they have any bulk, because they have another location, I believe, in New Jersey, and they're opening up their first one in Pennsylvania. So, and that's going to actually be, it's going to be the same distance as the other card shop I go to, just different direction. So I'm definitely going to check them out when they open and see what they have. But I think to really start hammering down some of these sets and getting complete, I think I'm going to just start ordering individuals and bulk and stuff like that. Or not ordering bulk, but ordering the individuals cards online just to start filling in those sets specific, to start getting them completed, and then get also back onto Whatnot when I have some extra money, and just pick up the random. And I think that's basically what I'm gonna do, is pick up the random from Whatnot, add what I can get from that into here, and then the specifics I'm just gonna start ordering um individuals if I can't find them in the stores for the sets that I'm trying to, or whatever set I'm trying to complete. So again, I'm going to look at this screen just to see a little bit bigger. I think that one set, the Crimson Vow Commander, is, I believe, still the highest at 42%. Um, actually, no, mid is up there now. Innistrad Midnight Hunt is now slightly above. But let me see what the difference in the card count is, because that's also going to make a big difference in, yeah, so this one still only has 194 cards in the set, and then this other one has 418. So it's a big difference in a card economy, like, or like the amount of cards I'm going to need to get. But I also feel like this one is just definitely a more common set. So I think it'd just be easier to finish this one, even though I need a heck of a lot more physical cards. I feel like this one's actually going to be easier to finish than the other one is, just because I couldn't find anything from the other one, and even looking online, I couldn't find stuff. So, but again, apologize for the long wait. Apologize that I haven't really been able to upload. Fortunately, it is what it is at the moment, but I'm going to work on, again, just getting my taxes paid down so that I can start focusing back on my hobby, because I do enjoy this. I'm hoping again, continue to grow this. So if you have any comments, questions, concerns, anything, leave it down in the comments. Like, share, appreciate anything you guys do. And I will see you as soon as I can get some new cards into the set. I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you for watching Magic Master Sets. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and please feel free to leave a comment.